Remember when Moses went up the mountain to meet God at the top, and almost all of Israel had to stay at the bottom of the mountain? But then there were a few people who were allowed just a little ways up the mountain. So we have all the people up down below. We have a few people in the middle, and we have Moses at the top. Remember that? And then remember how in the tabernacle and in the temple, everyone was allowed in the outer court. The priests were allowed into the outer sanctum, and then one priest was able to go into the Holy of Holies once a year to commune with God. Remember that? Do you see a pattern there? Hold on to your hats. If you're like me, you might have thought for a long time that Eden and the Garden of Eden were the same thing. Like those words could be used interchangeably. They are not the same thing. It is the Garden of Eden. There's Eden, and it has a garden. And so the garden is where Adam and Eve were, and that's where they directly communed with God. And then there was Eden, which was also an idyllic and beautiful and wonderful place. And then there was everything that was outside Eden, which was the rest of the world. And so we have the outside world, we have Eden, and then we have the Garden of Eden. We think that the three parts of the tabernacle and the temple were meant to evoke the Garden of Eden, and the outer world, and Sinai, the bottom, the middle, and the top. We think that the tabernacle and the temple was meant to be this vision of creation in miniature. We think that the three components of the tabernacle and the temple, the outer court, the outer sanctum, and the inner sanctum, are meant to evoke Eden and Sinai, and to say that Eden and Sinai were a sort of temple, a sort of tabernacle, a place where God dwells. We think that the three parts of the tabernacle and the temple are meant to be like the Garden of Eden, and the rest of the world, that they are meant to evoke creation itself, that they're like a vision of creation that is shrunk down and in miniature. It's why we think that the altar that was made of earth, of unhewn stones, and then the copper basin, which is called the sea, that the outer court is meant to evoke the land and the sea, earth. And we think that the outer sanctum was meant to evoke the visible heavens. I think I said in another video that the lights on the candelabra, that they're called lights, and it's a strange Hebrew word, and the other place that Hebrew word for lights is used is in the first chapter of Genesis, when God creates the lights of the sky, the visible sun, moon, stars, and planets. And so that outer sanctum is meant to evoke the visible heavens. And then the inner sanctum, the place where God dwells, is meant to evoke the invisible heaven, the part of heaven that we can't see, at least not this side of glory. It appears that the Old Testament imagines Adam and Eve as sort of priests who were tending in a sanctuary. In fact, the words that are used to talk about Adam in the garden was that he worked and he kept it. It's from Genesis 2:15. Those words, work and kept, are also used in the rest of the Old Testament to talk about what priests do in the tabernacle and the temple. In fact, when those two words are used together, work and keep, they almost always refer to either Adam in the garden or the priests in the tabernacle and the temple. We also think that what's going on in Eden with Adam and Eve as these priests in this garden sanctuary is that it wasn't just meant to be this secret, secluded place that was off by itself. Remember, they were told the one commandment they were given was to be fruitful and multiply. And so that their mission wasn't just to keep that one little place a sanctuary, but to make the whole earth and the whole cosmos into a sanctuary where God would be known and experienced and lived with. Thus, the tabernacle and the temple were not just about the structure itself. It wasn't just about that spot, that place, that tent, that building. It was about the whole world. It echoed creation, and it was meant to fill creation with its sacred work and with the presence of God. As Jesus calls the temple, it's a house of prayer for all people, a house for all, a house for all us priests, ministering to and being ministered by the presence of God who dwells among us.